Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to follow up on a couple points, both raised by the chairman and by the ranking member. First is small business, and obviously you're getting a recurring theme here that we all would love to see you do more outreach, more attention, and certainly not just small business, but rural small business. I know it might be hard to imagine, but those places in North Dakota we don't consider rural. We also would obviously love you to reach out to many of our Native American tribes who are looking at economic development. I think have industries within their boundaries that could be well served by expertise that your bank brings. And so, not to be too flip about it, but many of them don't fly on airplanes, so advertising in an in-flight magazine may not work, but almost every small city in North Dakota has an economic development agency. And there is an excellent opportunity to reach out to people who know what's happening on the ground, who know what may be the potential, work with commerce to make that happen. And so I would really encourage you to continue that kind of effort. And I thank you for your willingness to come to North Dakota. We're trying to set that up. I think there's a great deal of opportunity. And as we know, when we look at employment, we all give lip service to small business, right? Small business is where employment is going to grow, maybe the next big business, but yet a lot of the focus is on locomotives and airplanes. And maybe you might find a jewel in the rough here, that a gem in the rough that could, in fact, be the next Microsoft or Apple. And so that's just my pitch there. But I want to talk a little bit about your energy policy and about the decisions that you've made regarding coal-fired generation. You know, the lack of energy and electricity and poverty kind of go hand in hand, and I was reminded of that when I was in Afghanistan, and USAID was bragging because they were bringing a 250 kilowatt megawatt line, and right now that probably wouldn't power the Bakken. So this is a great disparity in this world, and the access to affordable energy is a key component to building the middle class. And I think that the way you've structured your restrictions really take out of the mix an opportunity for affordable electricity. And I think there's a lot of, without going too far into the weeds on carbon capture, there's a lot of opportunities beyond carbon capture for higher efficiency, for looking at environmental standards, but not clamping down so hard that we aren't exporting important technologies that can, in fact, provide an opportunity for affordable electricity, but also improve air quality in many of these locations. And so just want to ask you, how amenable is the bank to taking a look at reversing some of the policies that they've made on coal-fired electricity and taking a second look, looking at some of the arguments that I've made today?
Thank you for your support and support of small businesses. Just to underscore that, I'd say, again, almost 90% of the transactions we do are small companies, and I'd love it to be 91 or 92%, but we're pushing to the limits there.
Your definition of small and maybe my definition of small are two different things.
We actually use the SBA's definition. Yeah. We go with...
There's a long debate about what's small business in America today, yes.
But my only point is we don't have our own separate private definition. We go with the government's definition of that. In terms of the energy issue, I would say that our charter makes it clear that we have to find a balance, and it's a difficult balance. It's a balance between jobs and the environment, and you also mentioned affordable power around the world. And this requirement has been in our charter since 1992, so we are looking to make that balance.
But the restriction on coal-based power has not been in an interpretation since '92, correct?
Well, actually, the bank was sued in the early part of this century because we were not taking into account the environment sufficiently in making loan decisions. So as part of the agreement there, we came up with a more explicit and transparent environmental policy. Though in the omnibus bill that was just passed in some ways put a stay or reversed some of the environmental policies we put into place in December. Net, in 82 countries, we would be able to finance coal-fired power plants without going through some of the requirements and checks that policy would have put into place. So of 180 countries around the world, 82 of them, and these are the poorest, they're called IDA and IDA blend countries, we simply have to apply our standard environmental procedures, which those procedures have been in place and modified over the last 20 years. They're the kinds of things that the World Bank, the IFC, and others have put into place. They're sort of the global international norms. So in that case, for those countries between now and the end of the year, there is no difference.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.